afternoon, everyone. For those who weren't here earlier today, so for the marathon, I created a short novel of short stories titled A Working Miracle, and it's in three parts. The first part about the past of work, the second about the present. Oh, thank you very much. The second about the present, and the third part about the future. So it's just some short stories about fictional cities that also could somewhat exist right now, and I'm just going to read a few from the second part. And also I've got a few copies, so if you see me anywhere, just stop me and I'll give you a free signed copy. Anyway, here we go. So, it begins. An hour from the coast of San, and a few hours away from anything else, we found ourselves in Anstey, the town the birds never visit, an unusually quiet town aside from the sound of murmurs and machinery. Anstey was created from a need of increased efficiency in production lines, with local government, multinational organizations, and out-of-work residents all coming together to solve their needs. And here is the result. No one under 12 and no one over 60. Anyone in between is eligible to work and live here, all shapes, all sizes. As long as you can spend all day in front of bright lights and heavy machinery, you can work here. With most of their time spent in the factories, staff have little time for meals and even less time for leisure. Any idle thoughts are interrupted by the whirring cogs and deep need to sleep, and with little knowledge of the world outside, many who work here are destined to remain. Second one goes, I fondly remember the only time I went to Torquay, glimmering monoliths that covered the sky, and so many, they went on for as far as the eyes can see. Nothing out of order, nothing out of place. On your first foray into the city, one should find no shame in being lost. Modeled on uniformity, every junction looks like every other junction, every bridge looks like every other bridge. Every corner like every other corner, and every back alley where the unseemly are hidden in plain sight has the same stomach-wrenching smell as all the rest. As such, I spent my time testing certain things, and I encourage you to do the same. Head to the city center, ideally during rush hour. Local courtesy follows a no eye contact rule, so eyes down. Anyway, take a bus in every direction at least once. At the last stop, go to the first shop you find to eat. Pick whatever you want, it will probably taste the same. Once you've finished, go and talk to the first person you see, ask them how they are and what they've been up to in the last 24 hours. As with everything else, nothing out of order, nothing out of place. And I'll read this one as the last one. In my younger years, I was especially excitable. In a moment to prove myself as a serious person, I headed to Kukra, a city of cliches. If you can make it here. And similar terms were coined initially for Kukra. After taking several buses, 2 trains, and a long-distance plane to make it there, I found myself having to spend 12 hours filling entrance forms, which were mandatory for all new entrants to the city. I found myself mesmerized by the speed of everything. I found myself in a job. The standard hours were 9 to 5, much like everyone else. First day, I arrive, I work for 2 hours, I finish my tasks, I try to find something to do. I struggle as there's nothing to do. I go for lunch, tip the vendor, and get back to work. One can only go on so many bathroom breaks. I fortunately break the time up with more forms. This time for HR and other internal processes. Day done. I speak to my colleagues. It's a common problem, depending on how you're wired. Allegedly, in addition to being pinned down by needless bureaucracy, many of us don't have much work to do, but are required to be here, and as such find many ways to stretch the amount of time necessary to complete projects or to just try to look busy. Simple. As we part ways and make promises to have lunch tomorrow, I turn the corner and jump in a cab to the airport, whisper sweet nothings into the air about this whirlwind romance, spend some more hours on the Kukra exit forms, finally, before making my way back home. And that's it. Thank you very much.